All right, we're back here with head women's volleyball coach Korey Schroeder. Coach, another strong weekend of volleyball here. You're right there with UW on Wednesday, and then got a clean sweep over Eastern Washington on Friday to wrap up non-conference play. What? Just talk about what's going well with the team as we kind of turn the page here into WCC play.
Yeah, I think we're being really good learners. We talk every week about becoming better versions of ourselves, and we did it again this week. Ultimately, you want to go 2-0 there and beat UW, and we're right in that match and had an opportunity to. But I do think that we got better in those two matches. Yeah, finishing it with a sweep of Eastern was a good finish, and then getting a couple days off going into this week before starting conference is a good place to be.
Yeah, and then San Francisco record, they're 2-8, Santa Clara 5-6. So what's the message to the team considering they may not have the best records on paper, but you guys still need to win those games?
Yeah, I mean, I think record is pretty irrelevant at this point. You can make whatever schedule you want in preseason, and so you can go play the top 10 teams in the country and go 2-8, or you go 8-2 and play the worst 10 teams in the country. So, but San Francisco's also had, they've had some injuries that have kind of put them where they are right now. And they were working through what we were working through. They had a lot of new players, and then they had some injuries. So I think record, you can pretty much throw that out the window. We have no idea, where they are with their injuries. They might have all of those starters back. Might be the team that we saw playing last weekend. And Santa Clara is a much improved team. A lot of players from last year's team are back, but they've stepped up into bigger roles. And so we just talked about, hitting the reset button here. We've learned a lot about ourselves in the non-conference, and now it's an opportunity for us to reset going into conference.
What was the biggest lesson that you learned from that non-conference schedule that you're bringing with you now into WCC play?
I think consistency from our group is was big there. We had some games where we played really, really well, and then games within that same match where we maybe let off a little bit or weren't as focused. And so I think we learned that to be a great team, we've got to be consistent in every single game, and that doesn't guarantee that you're going to win every game, doesn't guarantee that you're going to win every match, but to put yourself in the best position possible, you've got to be consistent.
Yeah, and then going into the WCC schedule, you guys are projected to place fourth from the preseason poll. How does that sit with you? How does it sit with you? How do you think, is that accurate? What do you think?
No idea. I think preseason projections are done before anybody even plays a match, and now with transfer portals and there's a lot of freshmen playing throughout the conference. So to do a preseason poll, I know that we have to do them. Fans enjoy seeing them. For some teams, it's motivation. They see themselves as fourth, and they think that they should be first. Do I think that we can win the WCC championship? Absolutely. But I haven't seen all the teams, and that poll came out a couple weeks before anybody even played a match, and then you've got injuries and illnesses and all that stuff, and things change. So I like where we are right now within the conference as far as what I've seen from some of the other teams in the conference, but we'll see when we start playing matches here.
So you have 1 year of WCC play under your belt. You're heading into year two. What's maybe something that you saw last year in conference play that maybe shocked you a little bit, or that maybe you want to learn from heading into year two playing these same teams?
Well, it's just gonna be nice to actually scout the same players and same teams, and when we travel, go to the same gyms that we did last year. For me, it was 3 different conferences in 3 years, with being in the Horizon League and then coming to the Pac-12 and having to learn all those teams in gyms, and then turn around and you're in the WCC again, and we'll have to do it again next year with the Pac-12. But it'll be nice, at least for 1 year, that we know some of the players that we played against them last year, and we've been in some of those gyms last year, so that'll be good. I think from a conference as itself, we always focus on serve and pass, and that's always going to be important. It doesn't matter what level. It can be 5th grade. It can be the Olympics. Serve and pass is going to win you matches. Did see last year in the WCC that the transition. So after that first attack, getting into transition was a little bit more important than it was, the year before in the Pac-12. And so we've had to put a little bit more of an emphasis on that side of things, a little bit more on the transition side, and we got to get better there. But other than that, it's just going to be really nice to actually have similar opponents again 2 years in a row.
Yeah, and then going into this week's set of games, how have you guys been working on getting out to a quicker start, just not starting out as slow? I mean, we saw that last week against UW, and then also kind of going back to like the Harvard Invitational and even the first set against Seton Hall.
Yeah, I mean, it's a faster start to practice, making sure that we're engaged right away. And, with a young new group, they might not get that right away. But I have talked with our staff. I would much rather be in the place where, we're struggling in points 0 through 5, but we're doing really well in points 20 through 25 versus the other way around. Ultimately, I think the team's been really good at finishing sets. When it's been crunch time, you saw that against Eastern. We took the first 2 sets pretty easy, and then in set 3 we're down 22-20, and we could have freaked out and played poorly there, and we end up going on, I don't know what it was, a 5-5-0 or 6-6-1 stretch there to finish it out. So I think we've done a really good job playing in the 20s, but yeah, we do need to do a little bit better job getting out of the gate.
So Lucy Bleshkova and Eliana Tia have been the 2 names that have really stood out in the early season here. But looking into this San Francisco game, who's a name in practice that has been kind of standing out to you going into that matchup?
I think what really excites me is we have depth across the board, and certainly, Lucy and Ellie have gotten some of the awards, and kills wise, those are the top 2. But going into the year, what I was really excited about is we were going to have some pretty solid balance, and I think we're starting to see that a little bit more. Mary Healy has done a really nice job on the right side. That's balanced our offense along the net versus everything just going forward. That's been really nice. Our setters, both setters have done a really nice job, both playing their role in the 3 rotations that they have out there. So I think just across the board, what excites me against any opponent that we're going to play is that we've got some balance. Where a lot of teams, they do rely on, hey, here's the one person or the 2 people that they've got to have good matches in order for them to win. Certainly it helps us a lot when Lucy and Ellie and Melina's had some really good matches when they're playing well. But we also know that we don't have to have all 6 hitters have their best night. We don't have to have every passer have their very best night in order for us to still win. And that's really exciting as a coach, because the reality is you can't have everybody have their best match every single night. There's going to be somebody that's a little bit below their average. But we have a lot of people that can, step up and have one of their better nights of the year, and still help us win.
Yeah, and then what have been your thoughts just so far this entire season on Melina Christodoulou? I mean, she's coming in as a 5th-year senior, and just her first year on the team, and at home so far, she leads the team in kills with 24. So how has she been able to step up so far? And just what have you thought of her development from the beginning of the season to now?
No, she's doing a great job. She's been put in a lot of different roles. She played outside her entire college career and came in, and we asked her to play on the right side for the first few weekends, and then gets an opportunity to go to the outside and has done a great job out there. A couple matches, has played 6 rotations, and that's been new for her. So just overall, she's done a really good job embracing whatever role she's in. And that role, we talk to the team all the time, that role can change. It might be a little bit less of a role than what you would hope for or what you're used to. It could be a bigger role than what you're used to. And we just got to make sure that we embrace it. And so she's done a really good job as that role has changed from week to week, of doing what she needs in that match to succeed.